Hi there, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies. Today is a video about how to get more compliance and cooperation from your clients. What I mean by this is you probably have some good ideas of what will help your clients, and you tell them. They ask you, they say, what advice do you have? You tell them, and they say, boy, that sounds great, and then they don't do it. And we're sovereign creatures, and yet if they don't take your advice and do it, and they're paying you money, that means they're not going to get results. If they're not going to get any results, it means they're not going to be very happy with it. It means they're not going to get testimonials. It means you're not going to get word of mouth. It means all that energy and effort that you pour into that person kind of just goes down the tube. Nothing much comes from it. So short term is great, you're collecting money, being paid like any other client. But then what's going to happen is those people, when somebody says, hey, what was it like to work with that coach? They'll say, honestly, I paid a lot of money and not much changed. So how do we get more cooperation, participation, compliance, whatever word you want to say? How do we get them to actually have the changes happen? There's a lot to say here. I won't try to answer the whole question, but I do want to offer one little piece that to me is one of the most important in this. Tip of the hat to Jay Abraham for this. People need to understand your point of view. People need to understand it's not enough to just tell people, here's what you should do. You need to be able to tell people why to do that. And it has to make sense to them. Amongst the very best practitioners, I think they often have this experience of people, their clients saying to them, I always knew it was that. I always suspected that that was the reason I was struggling. Maybe they wouldn't admit it to themselves, maybe they wouldn't admit it to anyone else. But deep down, secretly they knew what was going on. I find this is actually true of a lot of people. If you would ask your client, you say, why do you think you're struggling? They would tell you. And they may not get it exactly right, but often they're somewhere in the ballpark. So if what we say to them, if the advice that we proffer to them, if the ideas we give, if the philosophy we share is completely, wildly out of the bounds of their experience, and therefore doesn't make any sense to them, chances of them following our advice are very slim. So of course, it's ideal that we get clients that probably are already aligned with our point of view. And even if it's not perfectly, so much of the marketing, so much of the relationship building is about helping to make the case. Not for them to work with us, not even for them. It's not obedience, really. It's just to make the case that if you want this result, this is the best way to get it. This is the approach that's most likely to help you get from island A to island B. So this, of course, comes back to the point of view marketing, which I talk about so much. Wrote an ebook about point of view marketing. I've got a whole playlist of videos on YouTube called Point of View Marketing, and you can check out. But this is why we have to make the case in our marketing, in our intro workshops, in our very first sessions, in the intake process, when we bring clients in, step by step. We have to make the case again, not just for what we're doing, but why we're doing it. The kind of cosmology and framework behind it. And it has to make sense to them. They've got to resonate with it. If they don't, they won't. If they don't understand it, they won't do it. They won't apply it. They won't hustle. They won't put in because they'll get there and they'll think, I don't even know if this is going to work. Why would I put in all this energy if I don't even know if it's going to work? The most important thing we need to do is build a kind of confidence in people that our approach is actually going to help them get the results they want. The more than anything, we need that kind of credibility and confidence. That kind of credibility and confidence doesn't happen just by, God, I can't even tell you how many people I've seen and talked to and heard stories of. There's the kind of condescending, arrogant doctor, no bedside manner, just go do this thing, take these pills, do that. Why? It doesn't matter. Look, just go do this. Here's what you need to do. You're in, you're out. They don't explain it. They don't give the rationale. And people are confused and therefore non-compliant. Now this gets blamed on the patient. They say, oh God, they're just non-compliant. They're resistant to help. No, they're not resistant to help. They're smart. They're trying to. They don't want to throw good money after bad. Why would they want to spend a lot of money and time and effort on something they aren't sure would work? It's probably that you haven't made, number one, you may not have filtered correctly to get the clients that aren't a fit out of the way. So you don't want to be working with clients that aren't a fit. But even if they're a fit, we still need to make the case. There's a lot of education. So much of marketing is about education. So much of marketing is about laying it down Socratically, methodologically. The emotional side is handled by the fact that they have a problem. We don't need to stick the knife in and twist it. They come to us with that if we're thoughtful enough in our marketing and niching. That's already there. We don't need to worry about the emotional side. What we do need to worry about, not worry about, but be mindful of, is the logical side. Here's why this approach. And that can also come down to saying, look, there's lots of other approaches. There's this, there's this, there's this. Here's why I recommend this one as opposed to those ones. Like you think for weight loss that there aren't plenty of opinions about how to lose weight? Plenty of options that people have. Vegetarian, vegan, paleo, Atkins, fasting, various kinds of intermittent fasting, Weight Watchers, etc. There's so many opinions about how to do it. And so much of whether or not the clients are going to actually follow through and do what we say is if what we say makes sense to them. And the thing it has to help them make sense of, it's a long time around to the punchline here, it has to make sense of their lived experience. If it doesn't map onto their lived experience, there's nothing. They've got to be able to hear what you're saying and say, wow, that happened to me last Tuesday. Let's say you work with people around heartburn and you say, yeah, some of the main things with heartburn are, sadly chocolate, peppermint tea, tomatoes. There's certain foods that encourage that. And they say, you know what, I noticed that the other day. I had some chili, and some wine, and some chocolate, and I had some mint tea, and I had the worst heartburn, I'd ever had. Oh, you're saying those things contribute to that. See what I'm saying? It's got to map on. It's got to remind people of their lived experience. If you're teaching nonviolent communication, hey, here are 20 examples of responses that seem empathetic that actually aren't. And they read it and they say, oh my God, my spouse did that to me just last night. Oh, I do that all the time. Oh no, I think they're right. That doesn't feel good. It's this kind of thing. We've got to help take their lived experience and frame it, give it a context. People think that what their clients need is more content, that what their clients need is more facts and details, information. I did a video a while ago called The Weaving, the Wool, the Weaving, the Wearer. And we think they just need wool. They don't need wool. They need something woven. They can only wear it once it's woven. You can't wear a ball of yarn. So same with our clients. They don't need more content. They need context. They need somebody to say, here's what's happening in your life. Now let me finally make sense of it for you. You've been in the same relationship with all these different men. Yeah, it's so confusing. Every time I think it's a different relationship, but it ends the same way, right? You know why? Why? Because you're trying to complete things with your father. And every man you pick is some version of your father. Oh my God. And then they see it. Wham. You know, or for me, I might say, do you know why you're struggling with your marketing? No, it's because you're trying to be everything to everybody. Oh my God, that's true. So it's not that we give them more content, we give them a better context. And if they trust the context that we weave for them, they are so much more like, there's more to it. I'm not trying to address it all, but they're so much more likely to do what we say, to take our advice. Of course, the big thing is it just has to hurt enough. That's the bottom line. If it doesn't hurt enough, they're just not going to do it. Or be inspired enough, one of those two. But as long as the emotional part is there, then you need a path. Because here's the thing. If you have all the emotion and, oh my God, I've got to handle this. It's so painful. But you don't see a road out. You don't see a pathway. Oh, that's awful. That's a really terrible feeling. To feel like you have to escape, but there's no escape route. That's a kind of miserable feeling. And I'm sure you felt that many times in your life. The pain was unbearable. It's like you're in prison, but there's actually no way out of prison. And every day you keep dreaming of escape, but there's no practical way to do it. Oh, when you dream about the things you would do if you got out of prison. If I could just leave this relationship, if I just had a bit of money, if my health was better, oh God, all the things I would do. But there's no way to get here from there. And that's what we're trying to do, is show them a way from island A to island B. We're trying to show them a way to get from here to there in a way that they believe. Because imagine if you were in jail and you wanted to break out and somebody said, I'm thinking about breaking out tomorrow. You want to join me? Oh man, I'd love to break out. What's your plan? Well, I was thinking at mealtime, we could just try to walk out the front door. But wait, that's where most of the guards are at the front door. Yeah, but we'll just pretend we're invisible. See what I'm saying? You would just, okay, there's nothing here. And yeah, there'd be no credibility. So you would still have the desire, but you'd have no actual motivation to follow that plan. Versus, let's say they said, I've got a plan, I gotta break out. And you said, man, well, hey, I've been wanting to break out for a while. What's your plan? And then they lay out the plan. Oh, and it's so good, it's so sophisticated. It involves a laundry hamper. It involves dressing up as one of the guards, covering up a camera. Somebody got bribed. I don't know what it is, But there's a plan. When you hear it, you think, that could work. That's a really good plan, actually. See what I'm saying? Now that the emotional desire, the desperation, and the inspiration connect with a plan. And boy, you better believe that's going to be one hell of a jailbreak. And our clients are looking for a plan to get out of jail. More than anything, that's what they want. Isn't that strange? We think they're not being compliant. Like they're just being lazy or something. They're being resistant. No. They just don't trust your plan. Do you know why? They've tried to break out of jail before, and there were consequences to trying to break out. Oh, they tried to escape, but they got caught by the guards. Now they're in for more time. So they're a little, understandably, gun shy. So we have to give them, most people have been disappointed so many times. How many of us in romance? The new romance that person promised us. Oh no, it's going to be different with me. And you promise yourself you're going to be different with them. And it's not. and you're not, and they're not. So we're all carrying some scars around this stuff. We're carrying some heartbreak and some disappointment. And look at the size of this tree. Whew. Big old grandfather here. Yeah, so we're all carrying a lot of disappointment and heartbreak. And they do want to trust you. That's the thing you have to know. They want to trust you. They want to believe you. More than anything, they want to believe it's true. It may take some time. That's part of what it is. That as clients actually follow the advice we give. It takes time to build trust. But boy, more than just about anything, they've got to trust your plan. The protocol has to make sense. The process has to pan out in their head. And if it does, and if you're able to make that case, I think you will be amazed, shocked, stupefied at how many of your clients suddenly are doing all these things and getting results because of it, and telling all of their friends. And word of mouth suddenly goes through the roof for you. Why? Because you're marketing harder? No. Because your clients are marketing you harder. So, wow, this was a long video. And I didn't expect it to be over almost 17 minutes. So, anyways, thanks so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Thanks to everyone who shares these videos, wherever you share them. Thank you for everyone who's subscribed to this channel, who's on my email list, marketingforhippies.com, or if you follow me on Facebook, or all of them, you reckless beasts. Thank you so much. I'm going to end it perfectly in 17 minutes. Take care, everyone.